we have to open the doors of the city. The city of Paris is 2 million of people, and there are so many people around, and we have to talk, we have to speak as designers.
I think the question is it the design that will change the city, or is it the city that will need the design to change?
For my creativity, city is really important. It's giving me the energy.
Las ciudades ya están dejando de ser ese lugar donde hay una oportunidad de trabajo. La ciudad está convirtiéndose más en un organismo cultural. Ya no es tan importante el desplazarse de un lugar a otro, ya no es tan importante el lugar donde resido y el lugar donde trabajo, sino que la ciudad se va a convertir más que hoy en día en un determinado paisaje.
It's important that the designers work in the frontiers between neighborhoods and in districts that will really work in how those boundaries has to be porous membranes that are not really strict and that make connections between those neighborhoods.
Avec de la communication, c'est certain. Avec de la communication, donc de la diffusion, avec du lien avec les autres que toi qui font ce métier.
Design is an agent for change.
I become really hooked and interested on this new idea of things that are not completely accomplished. They are finished because we say that they are finished, but they look like something that is still undone. So this is like a new concept, like a new culture that is affecting design, maybe behavior of people within the space, construction of the space, and I guess that at the end will affect also the construction of the city.
So I will speak about 104. It's a place in Paris who for me is a kind of avant-garde was places can be in a city. This means cohabitation of differences. A place who you can be happy, who you can have culture, who you can have personal experiences, but who you are every time in connection with other persons. So it's really, and for me, the design of this place is an utopical design of a city. This means how can we give the credibility of persons who at all often are excluded from the society, are in other signs, and give them this. So you have elements who are functional, who you need for your life, and in the same time you have elements who has to do with fun and with inutility, but also respect, mutual combination and all this. So that's a way who I can say if this structure of this can go from a protected place to an open place, this will be the city of the future for me.
So, well, what I see with the Matadero is with the little I know about Paris in this sense, no? The bond with Palais de Tokyo, no? With the look of it and the kind of activities, cultural activities which take place, no? What I see with the Matadero, which is very interesting, is the link with the river, which is the new Madrid, because Matadero was very on a side of the city and very abandoned, no? It was difficult to give it a life to it, and now it's becoming more and more alive.
The place is already here, the space is amazing, and architecture has been, as we were talking before, about authenticity and can you design. This place is already what it is, it is authentic, and it's been stripped down to its basic structure, and it hasn't been really over-designed other than to meet certain functions. So the frame is here, and I think, like we're talking, it's missing a little bit of interior
and real life.
And real life.
Yeah. The history is strong. And you can feel a little bit the cow and the sheep running here.
There has been a decision to keep it so harsh and dry, no? The space. All around there's no one tree, no? Which is we are surrounded by parks and whatever, but inside of the area there is no tree.
Yes. But I am a strong believer that nature cannot be replaced, and vegetation cannot be replaced by other artificial artifacts, although they are really interesting.
Madrid siempre ha sido un punto de conjunción de las gastronomías que tienen que ver con la península ibérica y con la mundial.
El motor de la gastronomía en Madrid ha sido brutal, ha sido muy potente, pero no solamente ese motor, sino que ha habido otros que poco a poco pues están también haciendo hueco. Hay barrios que están claramente ya recuperados, como puede ser Chueca, hay otros que están en fase de recuperación, como puede ser, por ejemplo, Malasaña, que está, digamos, también con este aspecto un poco negativo de la gentrificación.
Tenemos que tener en cuenta también que cómo vemos las ciudades y cómo las vivimos. Las capitales europeas cada vez son zonas de ocio del que disfrutan la gente que viene de fuera. Cómo queremos vivir la ciudad de los madrileños, cómo quieren vivir la ciudad de los parisinos, qué quieren ofrecer los madrileños, qué quieren ofrecer los parisinos.
So what we have even in historical cities like Paris, you have the same design for brands in every city in the world, like McDonald's in a way, even if McDonald's has changed this way of designing their restaurant now. I think singularity will be one of the key evolution. It's starting now, but the retail needs to be more specific, more adjusted to the location and to the cities, especially when you are in historical cities like Paris.
Paris had its main growth in a very rich period of the country, in a later period of the country as well, in the 19th century, while Madrid was a very new city when it really got to shape in its historical aspects, no? But then it grew in a more chaotic way and in not such a rich period of the country.
Trouver un élément qu'on pourrait ajouter à Paris, c'est assez dur à trouver, mais c'est vrai que c'est une ville, enfin comme beaucoup d'autres, qui a largement évolué dans ses usages. Je trouve avec l'arrivée d'Autolib, l'arrivée du Vélib, enfin finalement l'arrivée du smartphone qui permet de connecter des usagers, enfin des utilisateurs entre eux, et finalement on arrive à vivre la ville et trouver des nouveaux services dans cette ville, des nouvelles manières de consommer, des nouvelles manières de voyager à travers le numérique. Et peut-être ce qui serait intéressant aussi en parallèle, c'est d'avoir des espaces de rencontre complètement physiques. Et ça pourrait être des projets assez simples, pourquoi pas avec une ligne au sol, et qui indiquerait des espaces en fait dans lesquels on inviterait les gens simplement à se rencontrer et à se parler.
What I think happens in Madrid is what you say, it's in the middle of the desert, so it can grow infinitely. Yeah. And that's a problem, you know. If you go to Barcelona, you have the sea, you have the mountain, you have one river and the other. It's enclosed, you know, the topography defines the space where the city grows, no? So if this area is not fashionable anymore, they move somewhere else and they redo this area, and then they come back and they redo this one. And in Madrid, they kind of abandon areas, no? The other cities, they tend to always get improving themselves, no? No, they work on themselves continuously. Madrid, there are areas which are abandoned and then come back, but it's... No,
I think Paris is the same. Paris, the center is really nice, really touristic, really with the old building. But when you go out of the suburban, sometimes you are just thinking what they did. What they did. In Paris, people want to live in Paris, but they can't. In Brussels, they could because it's not so expensive.
They live outside.
Yeah, and they live outside.
I lived in New York for a few years, and in New York what happens is the city, artists, designers, people that are trendsetters start colonizing areas. I don't know if that's happening here. Real estate almost follows these people.
The artists, yes.
The artists,
That's
the musicians.
Gentrification, no?
The Centre Pompidou,
the 80s.
Yeah, but 40 years ago it was a big statement,
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
in the middle of that neighborhood in
The
the
best museum
But it was 80s, like hell.
create that
Yeah.
Very radical, no? And there's always like an approach of doing something radical.
My point of view for my creativity, because I'm super creative in the city, but not outside.
Aquí están todavía un poco vistas como movimientos de ocupas o temas más politizados, y en París me ha parecido muy interesante cómo ha surgido esta comunidad, y lo que me parece más bonito de estos movimientos es cómo la gente empieza a ocupar la ciudad, a sentirla suya y a cuidarla como suya.
Que la parte de diseño en las ciudades está mucho más relacionada con la historia de la ciudad y no tanto con la acción de diseño que se pueda hacer o cómo pueda intervenir el ser humano, ¿no? Yo creo que hay un punto en el que el diseño hace que la ciudad parezca más moderna, pero en realidad es porque ha tenido una evolución más tardía, ¿no?
Llegué a Madrid hace 10 años y he visto una transformación en cuanto a diseño bastante importante en la ciudad. Sigue siendo una ciudad muy auténtica. Mucha gente de fuera cuando viene a Madrid se da cuenta que hay sitios muy especiales porque han perdurado en el tiempo. Sí, creo que el diseño se ha introducido de una forma más suave, ¿no? Quizá no tan cercano a lo que ha ocurrido en otras ciudades importantes en Europa. Y creo que se ha conseguido mantener una cierta autenticidad, ¿no? Dentro de Madrid.
I think it was a lot more interesting and vibrant many years ago. The crisis killed everything, I think. It's probably building again, but before there was a lot less money, a lot more galleries, a lot more people buying art, and in 2008 that just crumbled and it hasn't picked up again.
In Paris, for example, we have the feeling that everybody is protecting himself in a bubble, a kind of bubble, and if you get in the bubble, the people don't like it.
Debería empezar a ocurrir en las ciudades no por obligación, no por normas o por castigos, si no cuidas algo, sino porque todos nos empezamos a vincular con esos espacios y a cuidarlos porque son nuestros y porque igual que cuidas tu casa, cuidas tu coche, cuidas tu ser, pues quieras cuidar de la ciudad y participar en lo que pasa de una manera más íntima.
Because the cosmopolitanism of Paris, the diversity of people of origins, we need to talk to everybody, and that's a very sometimes it's a very difficult thing, and that's why in my own job I'm trying to do every day is not to talk to a specialist or a certain part of the people, but everybody, and that's maybe that's what we have to do if we want to change a little bit the city or change the world. It would be it's a dream, but it's utopia. But it could be the the point we are trying to reach every day.
You don't live in the city, you live in a quarter, and I don't know if you see that, but we often say, where do you live? So that people start to love the quarter and they want to stay almost forever.
Il y a des villes que tu regardes grandir dans le sens de se modifier, de se transformer. Donc tu les vois se transformer. Et il y en a d'autres qui te regardent te transformer toi, de grandir toi. Et Paris, je suis plus dans cette relation-là. Parce que je crois finalement, elle se modifie pas beaucoup. Il y a des endroits qui, pour moi, même des bistrots, des cafés, c'est assez surprenant, mais qui n'ont absolument pas bougé depuis 15 ans. Depuis que j'habite cette ville.
Yo creo que Madrid está mejor ahora que hace 10 años, aunque hay cosas que han empeorado claramente, pero eso lo trae también, siempre está acarreada esa condición, digamos, de empeoramiento, pero también hay una renovación, hay una mejora, la gente está en la calle, vive mejor que antes.
Esa gamba tirada en el suelo ya no existe porque sanidad no deja que exista, y los diseñadores encontraremos la manera de que esa gamba esté representada en algún lugar del bar, seguramente. O el palillo sin fundita de plástico, o la cabeza de toro, o las papeleras en el suelo. Se prohíbe el cante, el baile, escupir en el suelo y dejar propinas.
Ready?